Good morning, kinfolk. Good morning. This is another shaded conversation. Thoughts on the mind of a preacher that he just feel like sharing. So, I've been thinking about some stuff, and one of the things that I realized that is so beneficial is waiting. And when I say waiting, I mean quite literally just waiting. I think sometimes we have an issue with patience because we don't see the benefit in it. And I want to share something that I think is so beneficial. So one of the things I've been doing for the past, it's over 30 days now. I did 30 days, and then I started again, and I just keep doing it over again. Part of my morning routine is I'll read 5 Psalms. Go from 1 to 151 or 152, depending upon how you count the Psalms. I say that because Psalms 9 and 10 look and appear as they were originally one song, bit of a textual critical note. And then there is the apocryphal Psalm of Psalm 151. So some might say it's 152 Psalms. Anyway, 5 a day. I add one extra. And at night, what I've been doing is the acrostic that David, we're not certain if it's David as a matter of fact, wrote in Psalm 119, which is an acrostic of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, Beth, Gimel, or Gimel, Gimel. So all of that, I'll read each one each night. But I pick a week. So that goes through 24 weeks. So that's just Aleph, one every night before I go to sleep, 1 week, for 7 days, and then the same for Beth the next week. Right now I'm on Gimel for the next 7 days, and example, so on. But I read, and one thing I will say, and there's nothing wrong with daily bread or morning devotion from the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, or whatever Bible app you might have, or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with those things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that the first devotional book we ought to have is actually the book of Psalms, actually the book of praise, but that's another conversation for another day. More of a textual critical note. But Psalms is just wonderful because it's replete with not just praises for the Lord, not just lamentations at times, not just thoughts and so forth, but it really is, you're seeing human trial, you're seeing human emotion reaching to God. And that is just amazing. That is just powerful to see human emotion expressed. It's not, I will say, Psalms is not devoid of humanity. I think that what we sometimes do is we limit the amount of humanity into our worship services, into times of prayer and so forth. But Psalms ain't like that. For what is it? I believe it's 2 times over. Is that Psalm 38 and Psalm 55, where David says, bust their teeth open, break their mouth, that they can't talk. I'm like, that's, I think perhaps it might even be that the fact that the King James Version was written in the King's English, so what we end up doing is we view things from a particular perspective as though they must be proper. I'm going somewhere. Perhaps that's caused us to look at our lives and say we need to make them seem or position them as though they are better than they always have been, and that's not necessarily the case. And you can see that in the Psalms. You can look at the Psalms and see that, and it won't be an issue. Hear me. When I say wait on the Lord, I had a situation yesterday where I'm on my way to worship. On my way to worship. So y'all can tell I'm recording this on Monday. On my way to worship. And Satan, minions, his minions, just right there. Text message. Oh, yeah. And I'm just like, my God, I don't want to deal with that. Okay. Then end of worship. And here comes Satan once more. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to deal with that. I'm so tired. And I'm like, Lord, I'm fitting to snap. And I said, well, no matter what, you got to deal with these situations as they are. So in one situation, it was someplace I was going. The other situation, it was something that I had said. And it was how someone had taken something I had said. And so I respond, and I'm just like, yo. And then I go, and I'm present, and I'm like, well, Lord, as the day progresses, I'm like, you really worked this thing out. So when he says, when I'm in the midst of circumstances, one of the Psalms that I read just this morning, as a matter of fact, Psalm 67 or 68, it says that, it's those that would make me pay for something that I didn't take, or in that realm. And it's like, it's just unfair. But he talks about how God just moves and works stuff out, and it's like, so God is doing that. And the whole time I'm sitting there for a little bit, like, I'm worried I gotta deal with these folk. I'm worried about the reaction to me explaining what I said to somebody. And everything was calm. Sometimes, and maybe it's because of, social media, funny. Maybe it's because of those things that sometimes what is stated, what's thrown out there, can be off-putting when we say that Psalm 23 says, you prepare, speaking to the good shepherd, speaking to the Lord, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Sometimes we've made that, and when I said social media, sometimes we've made that, oh, well, you need haters in order to thrive. And some videos have said that, and other videos have said, well, it's when, these people that don't want to see you succeed, when they arrive, that's when it's you need your enemies around in order for this, that, and the other. It's like, no, I don't think it's clear. The statement is, in the middle of my enemies, I'm still going to be good. That is not a portion dealing with, oh, well, you need them folk around. All of us going to have them around. But it is pointing to the fact that in the midst of strife, in the midst of trouble, in the midst of so much going on, God protects his own like a shepherd does. Everything went well. The stuff that I'm like, man, this thing gonna jump off one way or this way or that way, I'm like, it doesn't jump off. It is the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, God was in control of that situation. I responded to the homie who had taken something I said wrong. I responded, I'm like, no, I didn't, this and the other. And the response was, hey, my bad, I got it twisted. Twisted, bro. And yeah, okay. And it's like, man, here I was worried, and all I had to do was wait. Patience is one of the hardest things to develop. It is also one of the things that if you pray for it, you're going to get some challenging situations to strengthen your patience. Sure enough so. And then there are times where it doesn't seem to make sense, and boom, there it is. It makes sense. Boom, there it is. Things start to come together, and you look at it like, I didn't expect this. But Lord, you knew what you were doing. And because of that, I ain't tripping. Because of that, it makes sense to wait. It makes sense to be patient. That's something I was thinking. Something I figure I share with you. Something I figure that'd be beneficial to you. God bless you. God keep you. I'll holler at y'all at the next one.